Alright, I'm gonna get started back on this side by side. So, a little update on it. I really didn't do much to it. I charged the battery, I put it on a trickle charge, let it charge for quite a few hours. You know, cranking over good and everything, but
Is he in there?
I don't know. Well, apparently the dog's off the chain. He's right there. She gets off and goes down to the chickens and sits and lays and watches the chickens the whole time. But thought the battery was good, but as you can tell now, it's dead. She said she'd put a new, or she'd had a new battery put in it. Of course, I don't know how long ago that was now. But unfortunately, I think she's gonna have to buy a new battery because I trickle charged this one. It stayed all right for a couple hours probably, and then it was done. But I'm gonna use this battery just for now, and I'm just gonna keep jumping it. But I wanted to see what the issue was. So when I cranked it over, I sprayed a little bit of starting fluid in it, and it fired right up. So what I'm going to check is see if the fuel pump's working, seeing if we're getting the right vacuum to you know, make the fuel pump work. I don't know if I'll change the fuel lines and stuff, because these are original lines and they're kind of crappy. So I might do that. I'm probably going to pull the carburetor off and give it a good clean anyway, since it's been sitting a while. Who knows what, you know, if it's all corroded and whatnot. I might have to, you know, put it in the dunk tank, make sure that, you know, everything's completely cleaned out of it. But as far as I know, it ran on ether, so I guess we'll see what happens. I did check the oil in this, and whoever changed the oil overfilled it. It's definitely way over full. But did find a few things that were like the override switch is unplugged, and so I mean, obviously that doesn't have anything to do with it, but I'm gonna get this thing set up nice so everything works for her. So, but that being said, I'm gonna get started on it. Okay, as I was saying, carburetor doesn't look bad. It does have a little bit of an oily residue in it, which is good. It's not corroded. So I'm just gonna spray it out, clean it up real good, and put it back together and put it on, and then hopefully this thing will fire right up. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this, get it put it back together, and then put it back in and see what happens. Okay. Oh, I'm at the stop for now. Obviously, I don't have an O-ring for that. So, I'm going to have to get an O-ring that fits that, and then put it on. I'm assuming everything that I found with it, it's just going to make it start and run. So, I'll go ahead and stop it for here on this, because I did go ahead and put fuel lines on and whatnot. The fuel pump. I was going to test it with the old fuel line there. I'll grab some more new fuel line tomorrow too. So grab some fuel line and an O-ring, and then I think that'll probably do it. We'll get this thing fired up. I think it'll start, because from what I found, that needle was put in upside down. That little plastic piece was put in upside down, so the needle wouldn't drop as far as it's supposed to. The choke was stuck wide open. What else? I mean, somebody's been into that carburetor and for whatever reason, and yeah, it's not. It wasn't running properly, but got the new fuel pump on and everything. So, and if this all works, I'll probably order a battery for it. I don't want to just jump the gun and order a battery for it if, I'm not going to get, ahead with this and figure it out why. Because if I can get it started just by jumping it for now, that'd be great. I don't want to get a new battery and then be sitting here cranking on it all the time, running it down, putting the charger on it. I don't want to ruin a new battery. So, and then after that, I know she's got a blade for it, and a little part of me kind of wishes, like, the blade, she would have sent the blade with it. I would have asked to have the blade with it, so that way I could hook it up and get it working for her, especially coming into winter. If she's going to use the blade to push snow, but this guy's got it rigged up somehow, and I'm not exactly sure how, because he's got a trailer plug up front, I'm assuming is what he wired it up with to back here. So this is what would go on the switches. And he's got a left and a right. And he's drawing power from something here. I think it's actually drawing power from, or supposed to be drawing power from this connector down here. Because, let me see how this thing works here. Yeah, see, he's got a wire here. It's supposed to plug into somewhere. Of course, then again, he's got, so he's got a power and a ground. And a power and a ground. So power, ground. Oh yeah, power, ground, and then the other two are for the, back and forth motions. So one I'm assuming is to raise and lower, and the other is to pivot the blade. But actually, that probably won't be that hard to hook up. I might just try that and then run a voltmeter on it and see what happens. So, because I don't want her to put the blade on and then be like, oh, this doesn't work, and I don't know why. And so, even if it works backwards, I mean, it'll work. So, all right, now, had to wait a few more days than what I wanted to, but anyway. Couldn't really find an O-ring to fit the carburetor, so I went online, bought me a new one, because it was cheaper to buy this than it was to find the right O-ring and waste my time doing all that when I spent, I think, 16, 17 bucks. I think altogether it was like 20 bucks with shipping and whatnot. Anyway, got it off Amazon. I'm gonna put this in here, and then I'm just gonna put the carburetor back on. And then once I get that back on, I should be able to hook the lines up and everything and get this thing started. So I'm gonna get to it. little bit of adjustment, but I don't know what the deal is with the throttle. Doesn't want to idle down very good. Exhaust. She's a little warm. Okay. So anyway, if you can hear it, you can tell there's an exhaust leak on this thing and it's super loud. The exhaust rattles, it's real loose, so that's something I know I don't know if I'm gonna fix. She may just want it running and just want it left alone, or she might just want to go ahead and fix it. But got it running. The only thing is charging system is working, so that's a plus. Yeah, battery's junk. I got a new battery, so I'm gonna put a new battery in it. But the only other thing I'd do to this is probably fix the exhaust leak, which I didn't know it had until now. So if I have to, I'll order a gasket. But I'm gonna put a new battery in it, and these things are a pain to get battery in, which this one won't be because the inner fender is gone, which you can't see where I'm at here, but behind the rear tire there's like an inner fender that goes here, and apparently it's been removed, probably because the battery's junk and it really needs replaced. But other than that, it's running. So we're gonna tell her what's going on and see what see what she wants to do. So maybe get it back to her sooner. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But anyway, I'm gonna replace the battery in it so it'll start and run. I'm gonna fix, like I said, I'm gonna fix that wiring for that blade so that way she doesn't have to mess with it later. But I am gonna get things put back on here the way it's supposed to be, hopefully, if I have the right hardware for it. So hopefully she doesn't have to mess with it much. All she has to do is just go out and start it and it'll be running and ready to go for her. But anyway, I'm gonna get it pulled back in here. I'm gonna get a battery put in it. So all right. So got the battery in it. Oh, hold on. Might help if I have it. Starts right up. Idle's good. I do hear the fans kicking on. I did want to check to make sure. I don't remember. I looked. I don't remember if I had any antifreeze in it or not. But anyway, yeah, it's got some in it. You can top it off. Hold on a second. Yeah. Ow. What? She wants it fixed? Okay. So she said she wanted the exhaust fixed, so I'll have to get exhaust gasket to fix that. But other than that, so go back over what I found here. A few things that I'm going to do to it also. So the fuel pump wasn't pumping out really well. They put an inline fuel filter in it for whatever reason. I don't know why. There's no reason to put a fuel filter in it. There's a fuel filter screen deal inside the tank. Not only that, when you put a fuel filter in a vacuum system, it doesn't work all that well. It creates an air pocket. I don't know. I just don't like it. Same thing with the newer Arctic Cats, like the 09 Prowler I had in here. It did have a electric fuel pump, and the screen was in the bottom of it, so there was no need to put a fuel filter in it. Most things like that, there's really no need to put fuel filters in these. There's no point. Now, I say that on these, which this was after the fuel pump. Most times they're before the fuel pump because you don't want the fuel to get in fuel pump. So I say that on these. Now, my lawnmower has a vacuum system pump on it. And yes, it does have a fuel filter on it. It was designed for that. These were not. I don't know what the deal is with it being on the other side of the fuel pump before the carburetor. Like I say, there's no point in having it. So don't do it. Creates an air pocket and I don't like it. But like that one on my mower, it's gravity fed, where this one picks it up. So on my mower, it's gravity fed, so it's up from the bottom of the tank, pushing it in through the fuel filter up to the pump. Where this one is a pickup, so that it's from the top of the tank and it's got a tube that goes down to the tank, and it's a suction. That's also a difference in it too. So, like this one doesn't have the gravity fed, fuel pressure there. It's got to pick it up and suck it through it. But anyway, once I eliminated that, put the new fuel pump on, took the carburetor off. Carburetor was really clean, not gummed up at all. It was actually really nice, especially for sitting for about a year. And luckily there was no mouse nests or anything like that in it, so that's a plus. Replaced the fuel lines. The fuel lines were getting crappy. Replaced them all. And I had to replace that choke, electric choke. Couldn't find the right O-ring and stuff, and I just, when they had it jammed in there, it just wasn't right. So I just went ahead and bought the $20 choke. That's what I did to get it running. Now, what I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna wire this thing up back to the way it was, so that if she does put the plow on it, all she has to do is hook the plow up and plug it in, and she can flip her switches, and it should work. Other than that, so there's plastics that go on here into the seats. They weren't bolted on. If I have the right bolts, I'll go ahead and put new bolts in it. I'll make sure I had to bend this tab here to make the seat go on. So the plastic pieces that were here, if they're not bolted down, so they've set just like this on the seat. So when the seat's on there, the seat goes on here, and it slides into these slots on this plastic. Well, if this plastic's not attached, then the seat's just going to move around. So I'm going to try to get those bolted on, and I'll top off the antifreeze, and I'm going to fix that exhaust leak. So, and I'm not going to touch it right now because it's hot, but for now I'm going to see what I can find for bolts for this, and then I'll mount those plastic pieces back on, and I'll get that topped off with antifreeze. So I'm gonna get started on that. Okay, for some reason the camera turned off and I didn't even pay attention. So Bert came out here, he helped me. I kind of unwound the winch and wound the wire back up like it's supposed to be. And then I tested the little wire hanging down here for the plow. So it was working, had power both directions. So all he did was just flip the switch for me for that and this. And all working good. So next thing will be is I'll get in here and take those bolts out of the exhaust and probably the springs off and take the exhaust completely off and see what kind of gasket I need. Yeah, I think that might be the other gasket, which I might get along with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off real quick so I know what to order. Okay, so this one here isn't bad. Seal's pretty good. So I might not, I'm not gonna bother with that one. I mean, it seals on it. Plus the muffler itself, around the edges are starting to chip. You can kind of see there. But I pulled this out here, and that's the cylinder hole. There is supposed to be a gasket in there, and there's not. So I'll get a new one. I'll put it in there. It'll fit snug, so that way it'll smash it. It'll smash it between, the edge of this pipe right here and the exhaust or the head. So I'll get a new gasket, and once that comes in, I'll put that back on. And we'll call it good. Everything else checks out on it good. So yeah, and she's ecstatic. She didn't think I'd be able to get to it for a little longer, but like I say, I try to get to these things as fast as I can, especially with work and all that stuff. Especially if it's a simple thing like this, it's great. So next will be four-wheeler, since I got a battery. I don't know what all I'm going to do to it yet. I'm going to have to figure out prices of things and give the guy prices, because this might end up costing them over, $1,500. Because if it's what I think's wrong with it, they might just run it the way it is and deal with it. Because I'm pretty sure the clutches and everything are fried. From what he told me, it won't shift right. It won't do nothing right. So, and I don't think he wants to spend that kind of money on it. But I guess we'll see what comes of that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out, but anyway, like I said, get the exhaust on it, and I'll update you on that. I'll put the thing back in there, and then hopefully we'll get her sent back. So, but yeah, everything's working out pretty good on it. So that's it for now. All right, I finally got the seal for the side-by-side of the gasket for the side-by-side for the exhaust. So I want to put that in so I can be able to start it and move it and everything. But I want to start it, move it so I can get our four-wheeler out, so I can get the four-wheeler and trailer out, because we got to get the garden picked. Well, we got to get all the tomatoes pulled and everything. So I'm going to start with this first, and then we'll go and do that. Okay, I got it on. Well, see if it starts. Maybe. Been sitting a little bit. There it goes. No more rattle. No more rattle. All right. That's going to be it for the side-by-side.